Welcome to East Bay Church of Religious Science, where spirit abounds, love overflows, and spiritual transformation begins. Welcome home.
Shining out across the sky, God's calling out the weary to green pastures. Come and lie. There is a crossing a barren lands, God sowing love unceasing. Fresh fruit springs from the sand. Sweet Spirit, take over this place. Take over this place. Sweet Spirit, sweet Spirit, take over this place. Take over this place. Sweet Spirit, sweet Spirit, take over this place. Take over this place. Sweet Spirit, sweet Spirit, take over this place. Take over this place.
There is a mighty spirit, a mighty and sweet spirit. So on this day, as we stand in the afterglow of victory and success, I know that that sweet spirit is God. And I know that God is all that there is. For there is only one life, one perfect life, one complete life. That life is God. That is the life of each and every one of us. That is my life. That is the life of everyone listening, everyone viewing us. It is the life of our board of trustees. It is the life of our practitioners. It is the life of our congregants. It is the life of our community members. It is the life of all the politicians, the newscasters. It is the life of all of those who are on the street. For there is only one life. And God is in that life. For there is no separation, there is no disconnect, there is only God. And on this day, on this mighty day, I am grateful. I am grateful that the life of God is the life that breathes us. It is the life that lives us. It is the life that guides us. It is the life that loves us and surrounds us and holds us. It is our strength and our courage and our vision. It is our very peace. And on this mighty, mighty day. It is our joy. It is our joy. So for that, I give thanks. I give thanks for the East Bay Church of Religious Science. I give thanks for this service. And I give thanks for all of you. For I know that we are all together in this thing called life. And this thing called life is led by God. And for that, I am grateful. I release these words and I let them be. And so it is.
Sweet Spirit, sweet Spirit, take over this place, take over this place, sweet Spirit, sweet Spirit, take over this place, take over this place, sweet Spirit, sweet Spirit, take over this place, 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 take over this place. There is a mighty Spirit crossing a barren land, consoling love unceasing. Fresh fruit springs from the sand. Fresh fruit springs from the sand.
Yes, yes, there is a mighty Spirit. And welcome. Welcome to the East Bay Church of Religious Science. Welcome to our Sunday celebration. This is a day to celebrate. We've been listening to that song for about 24 hours now, celebration. And so welcome. Welcome to the active process of us all manifesting a world that works for everyone. And so right now, we are going to say our affirmation, our church's affirmation. And I want you to say it with me like you mean it. I want you to say it loud, say it strong, and I want you to say it as if this nation just voted in its first African-American female vice president. So we will say it together. God is the only power in my life. Nothing from without can touch the perfect life of God within me. No past experiences have power over me. I am a perfect child of God, and nothing that anyone has ever done or said can interfere with my divine inheritance. The power of God is greater than any circumstance in my life. The strength of God is mine to use. Turning away from all feelings of inadequacy, I discovered that all that I need is within me right now. As I forgive the past, I find that I have nothing to atone for and nothing to run away from. Casting off the old me, I discover my true self. I take dominion in my life. Old habits have no power over me. Conditions have no power over me. Personalities have no power over me. I take dominion. I am whole. I am free. I am complete. Now and forevermore, And we all say together, and so it is. And so it is, yes. Yes. And right now, let us lead you to our announcements. Thank you. And in this month of November, let us remember that this is the month of Thanksgiving. And in our East Bay tradition, as you have seen on the screen, we will have a virtual Thanksgiving celebration. In keeping with tradition, we will continue to support our communities. We will continue to adopt those families from Delaney College, from the EOPS program, and to support those who are struggling or having an opportunity of challenge in this season. And thank you so much for your support. Right now, we have my pleasure to introduce to you our speaker. She is a spirit that needs no introduction. She is guided by her soul and her strength of her body of activism. She is our own soul sister, our own leader, our own guide, the irreverent Reverend Dereca Blackmon. And as we get ready for her powerful message today, let us tune in to our beautiful music ministry. Today we have with us the musical inspiration of Reflections, with Mark Rickey on keyboard, Lee Henderson on bass, and Vino on the drums, and the beautiful voice of East Bay's own song angel, Sharon Henderson. This is Reflections.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, mountains' majesty. Above the fruited plains, America, America, God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good. Oh, sea. How beautiful for pilgrims' feet who stand impassioned stress, a thoroughfare for freedom's beat. Above the wilderness, America, oh my America, God mend every flaw and confirm my soul with self-control and thy liberty in law. God has shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Crown thy good, oh, with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. America, yes, shining sea, oh, from sea to shining sea.
Oh my goodness. America the Beautiful. Thank you so much, Reflection. I'm so appreciative of this music today and this world that we're living in, where I get to come to you from beautiful St. Thomas, and am so blessed that you showed up, whatever, whenever, wherever you are. Just know that your East Bay family is right where you are. So I'm Reverend Dereca, and I'm so excited for our topic today, because this is the time in the world where we're needed. People of faith, people who are willing to do and create something different. Our topic for today is America. And I asked Reflection to sing America the Beautiful, and we're going to follow up with a special song after the talk today. But I wanted to just remind us that there's an opportunity for us to have and create something different in this moment. I want to start by just acknowledging that even the term America has some controversy to it. It's not necessarily something that people celebrate all over the world. And part of the reason is because there's a conversation about whether America is a continental idea as opposed to a country. So while we call ourselves the United States of America, we didn't always. We were the Union and several other names. And there was a time where America referred to all of North America, which includes Canada. It referred to Central or Latin America. It also referred to South America. And for many people in the world, it still does. So I just want to acknowledge that even the construct that we have for what America is, named after America Amerigo Vespucci, I might add, is open to interpretation, and that's what we need in this moment. We need an America that's open to interpretation. And the song that you heard so beautifully sung, America the Beautiful, was actually considered as a candidate for our national anthem. And so instead we ended up with the Star-Spangled Banner, and there's a story that says Herbert Hoover's wife actually felt that it was inappropriate to have such a beautiful melodic song such as America the Beautiful be the anthem when the country was headed into war. And so she felt that the Star-Spangled Banner, and others around her felt that the Star-Spangled Banner with its more warlike message was a more appropriate national anthem, and Herbert Hoover declared that so back in the 1930s. And so I just want us to think about that. What does it mean that the anthem that we choose to represent ourselves was in part selected because it represented the ideas of war? So fundamental to the founding of this country is the act of war. So we talk about the 1619 Project and other ideas that help us see that white supremacy and slavery were so integral to the founding of this war. Sexism and the suppression of women were so integral to the founding of this country. So we had war for enforcing our ideas of colonialism, enforcing our ideas of imperialism, enforcing our ideas of white supremacy and sexism and homophobia and so many other things that were intrinsically a part of who we actually were when we founded this company. Well, this company might be a slip of the tongue, but there's sometimes where our country feels like a company, doesn't it? It feels more like it's supporting the corporate interest than our very own, than the interest of the people, the interest of freedom and justice, and all of the things that were promised in the messages of what America, or this United States of America, purported to be. So there were so many things that we were told that this country was about, right? Liberty and justice, all of these things of peace and freedom, right? And the pursuit of happiness, all of these things, and they come as an irony. They come as a source of pain for so many of us for whom those rights weren't given at the time we formed this country, at the time the Constitution happened. And so we have done this thing all along, since the very beginning, of reimagining what America could be, what these United States could be. We've come in and we've modified those ideas and we've expanded them, and we've pushed this country to fulfill its promise. We've pushed this country to do better, to be more inclusive of all of the people who were here when those in power at time, they couldn't even see all of the people. The Electoral College was really a lack of faith in the people to govern themselves, which was the core promise, right? The core promise of this country was that people would have the democracy to govern themselves. And yet so many times, like so many places and histories of war in the world, we gain power and replicate some of the oppressive practices, the taxation without representation of our folks who come home after having served time in the prison industrial complex. And yes, I'm going to refer to it that way. There is no rehabilitation in our criminal injustice system. There is only punishment, and we can and must have something better. I know my grandmother, my Nana, loved Ray Charles, and there was something about the way Ray Charles did America the Beautiful. There was something about the way Marvin Gaye did the Star-Spangled Banner and Jimi Hendrix. There was a way in which we have transformed this country. As women, as Black people, as LGBTQ plus people, as now trans people are stepping forward, people with disabilities, poor people have been the backbone of this country since its inception. And this is the time. Immigrants have been the backbone of this country since its inception. Well, not since it's the inception of this country, not this land. Because the native people, the indigenous people to this land, right? They are the backbone of this place well before it was named a thing. They are the ones who have been robbed of their homeland, have been robbed of their sovereignty, been robbed of their traditions and sometimes their language. So we never want to forget, as we're talking about these United States, the faulty bedrock, right? The blood of a slain people who were attacked through genocide that is the stain of this place that will always be upon it, right? And so there's these questions that come up, these moral, ethical dilemmas. Can this United States ever be credible, born in the blood and the sweat and the labor of oppressed people, right? Of Black and Indigenous people? Can this place ever be? And so here we are, we're faced with that moment where we have to ask the question, are we going to continue to oppress, continue to let people suffer, or will we be bold enough to reimagine this thing, to reimagine this experiment, right? We've got to reimagine the ways we think of hierarchy. We have people who consider themselves patriots because they call this the greatest country in the world. But there is a hierarchy in that is the basis of warmongering. The idea that one country must be greater than another is the basis of war. The idea that one people deserve to be above other people is the basis of whiteness itself. There wasn't a whiteness until there became a need, a desire to oppress other people. That had to be a whiteness in order to justify the enslavement of quote unquote red people and Black people and brown people. There had to be a whiteness to unite people so that we could oppress other people, right? There had to be these constructs around women and their inability to vote, to work, to own property. These constructs have a legacy today. This patriarchy, this white supremacy has a legacy today, and not just in these United States, but across the world. And so we get to decide, is this legacy going to be our legacy? Is this legacy going to be the basis on which we go forward in this thing we want to call a union that feels more divided than ever? So we listen to these words about the beautiful America. We listen to the mournful longing in the voice of Ray Charles, and we listen to it in the way that reflection brought it to us today. And we recognize the hope for things unseen. We look at things like the Statue of Liberty that said, "Bring me your tired, huddled masses." And then we look at the people caged at the border. Prince has a song called America, and he says that he wants for us to keep the children free. God shed his grace on thee, but keep the children free. Keep them free, not caged in the border and separated from their parents. See, we have always been pushing this democracy to actually bring justice, and we should push, and we will push when its systems, its prison systems, its court systems, its policing systems, its educational systems, its economic systems, its systems of media, and yes, its systems of religion, when they're steeped in patriarchy and white supremacy, when they're steeped in the ideas of war and genocide and oppression, when capitalism has corrupted everything that's supposed to protect the least of these. From our environment, to our immigrants, to our low-income people, to our people with disabilities, the least of these. When this country fails to bring justice and equality, it is our job to use every ounce of the privilege we have, whether our privilege is our skin color or our gender or our education or our money. It's a privilege just to be in this place, to be able to speak English and know that this is the language that has colonized much of the world, right? Oh, I know we don't like to think of ourselves as privileged, but we have so many of them living in this place. And we also, with that privilege, have a responsibility to rethink and redesign this place so that it creates justice, not just here for those of us living here, but that it recreates justice in the world, because our tax dollars have funded the oppression and the annihilation of peace in so many places in the world. And I'm not here to say that everything that this country is horrible. That's not what I'm saying. That's not our job. But I'm saying that everything that has made it great is the push of the people, the will of the people to have equality, to have justice. And I'm going to offer a new thing, a new will that the people must will, we must will love. We must will rehabilitation where there was punishment, because we love the people. No matter what quote unquote crime they have committed, we see God. The essence of God, created equally. We're all created equally. One nation under God, indivisible. What does indivisible mean? Does it mean that some of us get to be God and sit in judgment of others? Or does indivisible mean that we have to love the so-called enemy? Now, I'm not telling you that we have to support the policies of those that would oppress and suppress and depress and repress, or as we like to say, just press. We do not have to support those policies in order to still love the God in the people. In fact, the best way to oppose those policies, to dismantle those policies, is to appeal to the humanity of each and every person in this place. There has to be humanity or we will not survive. If the other side is just inhumane, then the only solution is what? To imprison them all, to oppress them all, to annihilate them all. What is the solution that we are proposing? Let's annihilate the policies. But let's hold out our greatest hope, our greatest love for the people. All of the people, because this is what we teach. This is what we teach in our love for all the people and wanting there to be one people and one humanity. We teach that, but did we just mean the ones that were like us? The ones that believe what we believe? Because when we talk about religious science, we talk about being open at the top. I tell people it's not just non-denominational, it's multi-faith. We have people here who are Muslim, people who are Jewish. We have people in this church who are atheists. God bless them. And well, I mean, not God bless them if that's not what they believe, because some people find the thing that we call God in nature. They find it in animals. They find it in children. They find that love thing that we call God. I'm going to assert that it's the love thing that we worship. It's the peace thing that we worship. And it does not matter to me and to this church what you call it. What matters is that you call it and that you know how to use this force for good to create good in the world. So I'm going to suggest that if we are the ones who believe we know how to use the force of good for creating good, then racism is ours to solve. Sexism is ours to solve. Homophobia is ours to solve. The fear that we have of transgender people that is so irrational. The protection of people with disabilities, visible and invisible. The accommodations that we need to create so that we can make sure that even the least of these, and not the least, let me be really clear, in any kind of lesser way, in any kind of damaged way, but the ones who have been pushed to the margins, marginalized, minoritized, oppressed. When I say the least of these, I mean the most of these, the best of these. Somebody said if we can create a world that works for women who are low income, people with disabilities who are transgender, that world, Black, Indigenous, transgender, disabled, that world, right? That we create, that creates love and harmony and equality and justice for that world. See, that is the kind of America we want. I call it the I am America, right? We talked about the Me Too. How about a I am? Come through, Hippolyta. Right, a I am, where I can name myself anything I want. See, this is what so many immigrants come to this country for. And some of them say, you know, y'all complain a lot. I came from a dictatorship. I came from genocide. And I came to this country because I saw the equal opportunity for people here to be able to make a way, make a living, make money. And I hear that. And I hear it and I know for a fact that so many people who have worked just as hard, who are just as smart, who are just as honest, who are just as blessed, who are just as much a child of God, are sitting in a prison or a grave. And so once you come to see the inequity in the systems of this place, you know our work is bigger than just loving one another. That's just the starting place. If you are truly loving one another, then your country reflects that. Its policies reflect that. Its practices reflect that. So when we look at our fragile democracy in this moment, we ought to see us. We get the leaders we deserve. And when we rise up with a creed of loving, right? Dr. King said we must rise up and live out our creed, that it could be self-evident and moving past not just all men are created equal, but all people are created equal. When we move into that living out of our creed, then something special will happen to this place. And I want to tell you, I see it. I see it. I believe in it. I sit sometimes and I imagine it. And I want to invite you to do that too, to just sit sometimes and imagine. Imagine a world of love. Imagine a world of peace. Imagine a world of justice. Imagine like John Lennon did, the I Am America. Right? Imagine that place. I know some of you all think the song Imagine is atheist, and I wanted to embrace the atheists that come to this religion because they want the science of it. If I practice the things that I believe, then they will manifest the good that I am claiming. I wanted to invoke that idea because when I listen to Imagine, I hear something different. I hear the sense of possibility of what is possible, not just for this nation, but for this world. When John Lennon talks about imagining that there is no heaven or no hell, I want you to hear what that would mean. That heaven and hell were not an original part of Christianity. That was brought in by Zoroastrianism. Look it up, right? That's not an original part of what we're thinking. That's the idea of punishment. It's the idea of reward. It's the idea that some of us are good and some of us are not. But it's that fear of the some of us are not. It's really the worshiping of evil is to put it as opposite to good. There is no opposite to good. Evil has no power. Darkness has no power over light. It just disappears. When the light is shining, darkness just disappears when the light is shining. Let us be that light that casts out the darkness of hatred and oppression and genocide and slavery and lesser than, that casts out the spirit of warmongering. Let us worship a new idea of God that reflects not just a white man in the sky, that reflects each and every one of us, that is the kaleidoscope, that is the beauty of nature. When we love that thing, the natural thing, the inherent thing, when we love that thing, then we fulfill the true possibility of what this United States could be. And he said, imagine there's no countries. Oh, what does that mean? Then we don't have to be America. We can be one people throughout the world. How could we have war? If we're one people throughout the world, how is that even possible? How could we kill our own people no matter where they live? Oh, imagine no countries. Oh, but he went further. He said, imagine no religion. Now, I know that's hard. How can the preacher say, imagine no religion? Ernest Holmes didn't want a religion. He wanted a practice. He wanted people of faith to practice what they preach, to actually see results. When you pray, he said, something ought to happen. It's not just a wish that goes up into the sky. It goes into the ether like a seed in the soil, and it must produce what we declare. That's how prayer in this faith works. And so I believe that anybody who's praying into the soil of the creative universe, it doesn't matter what religion they are. When we pray with that pure intention, and some of us, it's a prayer when we go and we hug a tree. It's a prayer of unity with all life, and that includes all life everywhere. the life of the plants, the life of the animals. When we become one with all of that, the whole thing is going to change. Because I've been saying all along, the thing that is killing the planet is the thing that is oppressing the people. It's one thing. And when we're willing to challenge this one thing with every breath in our body, with every fiber in our being, then it's all going to change. And then we can have an I am America. I am the world. I am love. I am something that knows peace, that knows justice, that knows love, that knows equality of all people deep in my soul. And because I know it's true for me, I know it's true for each and every person. So I just invite you to join me as we go into this affirmative prayer. And I just recognize the omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient power of God. It's known by so many names in so many parts of the world. It's known without borders as the one thing, the I am. And I am that I am. And as it's true for me, it's true for every single person hearing this and not hearing this. It's true for every single person that I might label an enemy of this state. It's true for every single person that I might want to label an enemy of justice, an enemy of good. There are no enemies in this I am. It's big enough to hold it all. There is no spot where God is not. There is no heart so hardened that it cannot be changed. There is nothing that opposes this good. It has no power. And I turn on my light. And I declare that all the lights of this humanity, all the lights turn on and it transforms the entire planet. I declare right now that as I turn on my light of forgiveness, I turn on my light of peace, my light of love, as I cast out the darkness in my own thinking, something different happens to this place that I choose to live in. Something different happens where reparations happen for those who have been oppressed, and freedom happens for those who come here today, and love happens for those who have gone down the wrong path. There's love and compassion and forgiveness for each and every one. There is a faith. I declare a faith in the perfect humanity, the perfect presence of God in each and every person. So there are no cages at the border. There are no people being murdered by the police. There are no oppression of women and sexual assault of trans people. That is not happening in the world I am creating within me. It's not happening. Not on my watch. Not in my body, not in my consciousness, not in my region, not in the place that I live. It's not happening that we will desecrate and change and transform and pull all the resources out of the planet without giving it back our love. And so I just give thanks now for each and every one of us that's willing to be this light. Light on the hill, light in the darkness, light in our own mind. I give thanks for us. I give thanks for each person who hears this word, knowing there are no accidents and that we are the right ones for this time. I give thanks for the crusade for justice, for the tireless who are willing to pick up the mantle, pick up the banner, pick up the torch, for so many ancestors that have come before us and said there is a better way. I give thanks for us, and I do the most important thing I can. I let go. I let go of my own ideas about who needs to be elected for change happens. I let go of my own ideas of who's right and who's wrong. I let go and I surrender to the thing that created me and them. I surrender to the thing that knows how to make a way when the way doesn't seem clear. I'm not surrendering to the votes. I'm surrendering to the voice. The voice of God in me and in every living thing. I'm surrendering to it. I'm listening to it. I'm trusting it like never before. I'm trusting it like never before. And it gives me imagination. It gives me beyond hope. It gives me faith. It gives me deep inner knowing. And if you are willing to claim this deep inner knowing for yourself, if you are willing to claim the I am, is bigger than the I am America. If you're willing to claim that, I invite you to join me by saying Ashe, Amen, and so it is.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Oh, imagine all the people sharing all the wealth. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine, oh, just imagine. You gotta imagine. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No more greed or hunger. It's gonna be a brotherhood of man. Oh, imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but
Yes. Let us imagine. I would like to imagine a world where everyone has shelter, in a world where everyone has food, a world where everyone has love. And I know that I am not the only dreamer here at this church, the East Bay Church of Religious Science. And so now it is time for gracious giving. And on behalf of our Board of Trustees, we thank you for your continued support of the East Bay community. At this time, let us all go into a place of gratitude and thanksgiving for all that we have received from East Bay this year and every year. Please see our screen for ways that we can support our church, our building, and all the people in our community. As we open up our hearts, I just want to take a moment to give a blessing. I bless all the gifts that are being sent in through text, through our website, through the mail, in our Dropbox. I know that these gifts and offerings serve our greater community, the homeless, the seniors, our children, our young adults, those who are sheltered in, shut in, those who are in the hospital, our young people, and our seasoned people. And I just bless our activity to constantly be aware, to see those who appear invisible. And I give thanks that we are all collectively doing that together through offerings, through our tithes, and through our pledges. So I give thanks, I give thanks, and I give thanks. And so it is. Yes, I give thanks. And at this time, we will begin our process of release. And as we do, please remember that our prayer rooms are open. They are open directly after this service. You can go to our chat lines or look for the information in the chat. We also have prayer every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m., and meditation every day, Monday through Friday, at 12:30. Please join our services. Reach out to our practitioners, reach out to our ministries and our ministers for support, for prayer, and just to celebrate. Let's stay in celebration. And as we leave this sacred space, I know that all is well, all is good, and all is in the perfect activity of God at all times, despite any vision or outpicturing of anything else. And so for that, I am grateful. I am grateful as we leave this space, as we move into our next minute, a moment of reality, together in spirit and in heart and in love. And so I give thanks, I release, and I allow this moment and this day and this service to be so. And so it is.
We've been traveling far without a home. eye of a storm. Home to a new and shiny place. Make a bed and say our grace. Freedom's light burning warm. Freedom's light burning warm. Everywhere